Friday night sports show, repeated Saturday mornings with Jase and the Flowman.
Really exciting times for country sport across South Australia and Victoria.
Football and netball in country Australia is life.
Each week, tackling the big talking points in country footy and netball.
Eager repeat, tries to gut out every time, and we love playing with blokes like that.
This is an arch rivalry that goes back generations.
The teams, the ins, the outs, the key matchups, and the big games of the round.
Kinaroo have been recruiting brilliantly.
When it comes September, he gives another gear, that boy, and up and about and away he goes.
It's all about the mental toughness. You're going to be challenged.
Friday nights and repeated Saturday mornings covering your local footy and netball leagues.
That is true. It is a record that will never be broken.
4 footy sides in, all 4 win their grand finals. It's never been done.
They did it with absolute class.
The Friday night sports show with Jase and Wayne the Flowman on your colour of sporting country life. Flow FM.
Yes, we are back again. The Flow Friday Night Sports Show, up and away. Another big hour to come. Football, and more football. The great Flowman is with me in the studio as well, Flowman. Exciting times. We're almost edging towards the halfway mark of some of our competitions. Can you believe that?
Oh, you can. And this hour, those Elliston districts, they've got their first ever win in Great Flinders. Are we excited? And are they pumped? But what about at Western Eyre? Last weekend, up at Penong, one of the great games of country football scene in that part of the world for many a year.
Yes, indeed. I've had the shirt change. I've got my court date coming up a little bit later on, so last time I dressed up like this, I was called the defendant, and that's a topic for another day. We should probably talk football, Flowman.
Did you iron that shirt?
It's definitely ironed.
Oh, you did. You're looking better than me. I was a bit of a quip at you last week. It's just not keeping the standards now that we've got this gorgeous studio with all this lighting that they've got. And I tell you what, it's coloured magnificently, a bit of blue and a bit of orange, and we're ready to get stuck into it. A bit later on, we got the great Spud McKay. He's going to join us. You might have heard him there. It's all about mental toughness.
Yes, we love Spud.
Oh, he's a good man. Kim Vivian along for BL&G. A bit later in the program, we get to some Mallee, and you were down there in Tinanara last week. It was magnificent.
Yep, I caught up with Hoops. Also coming up earlier in the week, I caught up with Jared Sampson, who was going up and back and up and back. Also Chris Prime as well. EP football there to cover. And we'll get into it shortly with Brad Bowman for Western Eyre football. It is the Flow Friday Night Sports Show. Let's go.
For all your welding fabrication needs and steel supplies, you need West Coast Welding. From general rural engineering and fabrication to structural steel and aluminium welding to trays with toolboxes and water tanks. They can even help with maintaining your fishing fleet, including aluminium boats and trailers. And they have a range of lifting and rigging gear too. A local family-run business, West Coast Welding, 2 Reading Road, Streaky Bay. Phone 8626 1817.
Great Batch Agencies. You need some mechanical repairs done, mate? Yeah, we're here for the job. Of course we can do your truck. We repair all vehicles. You want a new trailer too? Yeah, mate. We stock the best trailer co in all sizes. Your air conditioner's playing up again. We'll sort you. If you can't come into the workshop, we'll meet you out on the farm. We've got everything a farmer needs.
Great Batch Agencies Wirralur. A great batch of products for a great batch of farmers. 8626 8021.
IGA Thevenard has great service and savings for you on groceries, meats, deli lines, fresh fruit and veg, and at convenient opening hours. 8 till 8, 7 days a week. With more than 800 weekly specials from IGA to help with the family budget. Also new lines including ready-to-eat pizzas, Nature's Protein, Jase nut range, ready-made salads and more. Delivering grocery orders to Far West farmers, stations, roadhouses and missions. Plus phone orders and delivery for minimum $100 in Ceduna and Thevenard. Shop with the locals at IGA Thevenard, opposite Thevy Oval, or phone 8625 2175.
Rob Montgomery, your local earth-moving specialist serving the West Coast. Got solid rock on your property? Rob has the rock breaker and all the gear to crush them, including a 22-ton excavator and a breaker for trenching rocks. Need to dig a new septic or house and shed preparation? Rob is the man to call. Or if you need the equipment, Rob has four-wheeled loaders, bobcats, water tankers, semi-side tippers, road trains and low loaders for hire. If you've got a mountain of work, Call Rob Montgomery today, 0427 060 755.
Killers, the place to get everything you need to enjoy your time in Streaky Bay. You can hire stand-up paddleboards, kayaks and boats for maximum Streaky Bay enjoyment. Also fuel, bait, ice, tackle, fishing, boating and beach supplies and accessories. Check out the Shimano fishing rods, designed by Killers, the Whiting Killer and the Offshore Killer. And before you hit the water or the road, pick up a Killer's delicious bacon and egg sandwich, the Breakfast of Champions, or a freshly made sandwich for lunch. Killers, 48 Wells Street, Streaky Bay.
The Flow FM Sports Show, Western Eyre Football.
It's the Flow, a Friday night sports show, and I tell you what, it's great to be back and talking about...
Oh, yes, it certainly is. Mate, it is great to be back. What a highlight you are. And I'll tell you, this is going to be a fantastic program ahead of us because we got Brad Bowman with us, and he joins us now. G'day, Brad. How you going?
Very well for a Friday afternoon. Yourself?
Oh, we're going real well. But tell you what, the Statman over here has got the look here. Ooh. He's looking across at me, and he heard me say just before this is one of the great games ever seen on the far west coast. He said you might have been blowing it up a bit. So, Brad, tell us about West Coast Hawks 14-8-92 to beat the Western United Footy Club 11-13-79 in an absolute belter at Penong.
Yes, this game had everything. Western United had a goal on the board in the first 20 seconds of the match, and they were in control up until about half-time, and the game started to turn. One of the big turning points I heard was the move of Mark Dolling into the middle in the second quarter, and unfortunately an injury to Tom Woods, who was marking everything up in the Western United forward line.
Ooh, okay, that doesn't surprise. But I tell you, a cracking game of football from everything that I've been told. For those who are in attendance, one of the highest standard games of football played in Far West for a long time. And you were right with what you said, Brad. They've come from about 4 goals down at half time, the West Coast Hawks, to steamroll Western United in the final term. In the end, they got back within 3 at three-quarter time, and then they went on with it in the final term. Colbung it was who did the damage up forward. And when you can send Dolling up the ground a little bit, when we know how many goals he's kicked this year, and you can rely on Kobe Colbung to kick you 5 out of the square, well, you're not losing too much, are you, Brad?
No. And I think the young legs of Western United sort of tired in the Hawks, their machine come into gear, and yeah, Colbung was dominating in the forward line, certainly in the last quarter.
He was, yeah. But umpires have said some good comments too about this match in the Dolling. He might have got the 3, but Harley Chandler, he's a star over there at the Penong Club.
Yeah, he's just come back from college this year, and he's a very good footballer. Won the best player in the B-grade grand final 2 seasons ago, and yeah, he's a star of the future.
There's been a lot of debate over the years as to which comp was better, Midwest or Far West. We got our answer. It's very even, and it's always been very even.
Yes.
That's the reality. You can't really separate Western United and the West Coast Hawks on the back of that. What about the other games, though? We should have a look at Thevenard, who took on the Blues at Thevenard, and it was really only poor goal kicking from the Blues that sort of kept Thevenard in this one, Brad.
Yeah, I went and had a look at this game, and yeah, Blues, they had a goal in the first 20 seconds, and I think they kicked 7 points after that till they got a couple more goals, but yeah, they sort of really controlled the game. Thevenard really struggled to get the ball out of defence, and they'd go wide and the ball would come back, so yeah, they are struggling at the moment.
They certainly are, but Williams booted 3 for the Blues. At least he got 3 online. They had 3 goals, 8 to quarter time, so they needed someone to straighten them up. Williams was named in the best, Beattie, Thompson and Flowman. Who was that guy that was named best on ground for Sejuna Blues? Come on, have a go.
Look, I think Jurasevic was very good.
Well done.
Yeah, I thought Williams and Beattie and Thompson and Radloff, he was very, very good. But on the other side, Hazeldine, Pav. Now, mate,
I love a Pav.
I love a Pav too. And Caretti was in there too, so good on the Thevenard. Grillsy booted too.
Bear Grills.
I reckon his dad plays the bass guitar, if I remember. He's pretty good bass guitar player, good football player, young Grillsy. Hey, look, getting into this third match, what about this, Jase? It was Kaniba 7-15-57 to beat Wirrala 8-5-53. And I tell you what, Brad Bowman, that went right down to the wire out at Wirrala.
Certainly did. Good match of footy. Kaniba probably could have had that game iced at quarter time. It was 4-9 in the first quarter, and then Wirrala came home with a wet sail, but the Kaniba boys managed to hang on for their first win of the season. They were very pleased.
Almost kicked themselves out of it again. We've seen that a couple of times in this round, inaccurate goal kicking. But, hey, look, at the end of the day, 7 individual goal kickers got the job done for Kinniba. S. Miller, A. Miller, Graham, Newchurch and Dudley Jr., along with J. Miller named in the best for the Roosters. For the Bombers, it was Watkinson, a sole man up forward. He kicked 6 of the 8. Ackland, Watkinson, Watson and Gum. There's some familiar names there named in Wirrala's best. So, good game of footy.
Yeah, it was a good game, and I think, Brad, you take those college kids at the best boys and so forth out of that Wirrala club, and, gee, they just come back to the pack, and Kinniba snuck one here, I reckon, if Wirrala could get their full squad online.
Yeah, and Kinniba under strength as well, but, yeah, it sort of gets Kinniba back in touch with the top 4, and Wirrala keeps them at the bottom of that 4, so it's really, we've got 5 teams battling it out for 4 spots, so it's going to be a great finish to the season.
Will be. Looking at reserves action, it was Western United 5-6-36 over the Hawks, 4-5-29. Thevenard went down to the Blues 4-3-27, 8-6-54. And another tight one in the Rezzies at Wirrala. Kinniba again, 8-11-59. The Bombers 5-8-38. That reserves competition is pumping. Very close every week, Brad.
Yeah, it is good competition, and again, probably 5 teams are battling for 4 spots, and there's not much between those 4 teams. So real battle on for the top places heading towards finals.
I tell you what, if the Western United boys were disappointed in the seniors to get rolled, they weren't in there at 17s. It was a big win, 23-9, 147 to the West Coast Hawks, 1-2-8. Wowee, they must have some good kids coming out from Currabee and Bookerbee and all along the road to Nundroo out of the west there, because they put Polkinghorne with 8, Marr with 8, and Dunn kicked the only one for the West Coast Hawks. O. Williams, K. Capurso and J. Roberts for the Hawks. It was M. Nichols, J. Polkinghorne and J. Woods kicking some good scores there in the 17-year-old bracket. It was Thevy got up 8-17 to Blues 5-1, and a good performance there by the Thevy 17s, and then we reckon 10 goals to Kinniba and 0 to Wirrala. May well have been a forfeit in that match, Brad.
Yes, unfortunately there was a forfeit, but the boys still had a scratch match, and talking to one of the lads today, he really enjoyed it. So, yeah.
As long as they get a kick. And, of course, the Litlands, that's where we'll finish. And this is a pretty even comp as well. The Hawks, 8-8-56. Western United, 5-1-31. Thevenard, 2-2-14. Not good enough against the Blues, who were way too good there. 10-6-66. That's a good score for the youngsters. And Kinniba, 10-4-64. The Bombers didn't score. But, again, at least they're out there having a kick.
That's the thing. So, yeah, I think they mixed their teams up for the last half and had a scratch match, which was always a sensible thing to do in those big margin games at that level.
Certainly is, and tell you what, Mortlock is not far away, and I tell you, there is a lot of excitement in the Western Eyre about their competitiveness and going down there, maybe bringing back the bacon. I'm telling you about this, I guess, Brad, you'd be doing a bit of research. Who do you think could coach the side?
Not entirely sure at the moment. I'm still trying to confirm that one, so hopefully I'll get an answer for you next week.
Flowman, you've got some mail here, I hear. I'm going to spill the beans.
I'm not going to say, but I'll tell you what, if I was buying a colour TV, I reckon I might meet the bloke.
Not a black and white one?
No, just a colour TV.
Right.
Yeah, I could meet him. But anyway, he may not. But he may.
Definitely not a black and white one?
No, I don't think he's over at the black and white area at all.
Okay, right, okay.
No.
So definitely a colour TV, right. Thank you very much, Flowman.
If Brad won't say, I'm not going to say either. But
Fair enough.
round 5 action out of there at Sajuna. The Blue Boys, they've got a big match. Western United come to play, Brad. They will come to play after last week getting done by a very minimal margin by those West Coast Hawks. How do you see their response from the Penong boys as they come into Sajuna?
Their response will be pretty strong. I think they'll start a favourite in this match. Blues have got a few players out. Western United by 3 goals.
Yeah, I think so. Kinniba taking on Thevenard. Kinniba, I guess, even though they're still missing a few senior players, a couple of wins last week will freshen those boys up. Will they start favourites at home here against Thevenard?
Yeah, they will, and they've got some big inclusions this week. Wilfred Edwards is back, Kingsley Ware's back, Kingsley Bingley Jr. is playing this week, Vaughan Day and Darryl Dudley, so some big names back for Kinniba this week.
There are some big names. And, the old Midwest traditional rivals going at it here in Western Eyre football. At Pidnippy, the home of many a rivalry clash between these two, the West Coast Hawks taking on Wirrala. And I'm sure they penciled this on the program as soon as they joined the comp.
Yeah, I'm calling this on the Midwest Cup. It will be a interesting match, but Wirrala have about 9 changes this week again, so lots of injuries. So Hawks have got 3 injuries, they tell me. They won't tell me who, but they will be the favourites to win this game, and I think they'll win by about 10 goals.
Yeah, I think so too.
And it's at Pidnippy, so I won't worry the Wirrala folk because they're just up the road from there.
Yep.
A bit of dirt to get down, and they'll be happy to get that Pidnippy Hall. I noticed that they've been doing a fair bit of work there around that oval too, just to get it up and nice and beautiful for this game. So looking forward to seeing the results come through. Brad, it's an exciting year of Western Eyre. A lot of the kids are really excited having the 4 grades to get through 2 each week. So how are you seeing it as it's unfolded across the first 4 rounds?
Yeah, it's been really good. Everyone's really happy that football's back. The addition of the 2 new teams has added some real fresh air to the competition. And just a couple of congratulations for this week. Bo Halbert plays his 50th game for Thevenard, and Paul Feltis his 200th game for the Hawks.
Fantastic. Good luck to those gentlemen, and all the best to everyone having a kick and a catch this weekend in Western Eyre football.
What do N&C Ag stand for? What about New Curtis's on the Upper Eyre Peninsula? They're service agents for parts and repairs. Yeah, they have genuine new parts or aftermarkets for your red, green or yellow tractor and header. They're nice and central, and they can get the job done in the workshop or on the farm when you really need it. That's right, mechanical, auto, electrical, aircons, but what do N&C Ag actually stand for? Well, you'll have to ask Noel and Christine. Give them a call.
Ask Noel and Christine at N&C Ag Wirrala. Phone 8626 8042.
West Coast Ag, formerly Landmark West Coast, and still more than just ag supplies. They stock a large range of crop protection products, fertiliser, irrigation, fencing, stock feeds, shearing supplies, pet and animal health products, an agent for Bushman tanks and Aaron's field bins. They even have a range of hunting and clay target shooting ammo, scopes and binoculars. See the team for your grain marketing, agronomy and arranging delivery to and from your farm. Locally owned and operated, West Coast Ag, Reading Road, Streaky Bay. Phone 8626 1409.
Buy a new Toyota and it comes with a feature like no other car. It's called the Toyota Service Advantage. That means you pay one low price every logbook service with your cap price servicing. And we've made it super easy to book a service too. Simply book online or via the My Toyota app and you'll be able to find the most convenient time that works for you.
Visit Ceduna Toyota on the corner of Eyre Highway and Hastings Road, Ceduna.
Oh, what a feeling. Toyota. Standard scheduled logbook servicing only. T's and C's apply. Visit toyota.com.au/advantage.
Ceduna Metal Solutions. You bring the opportunity, they have the solutions. For all steel, aluminium and stainless steel fabrication and repairs, whether you're farming on the land or on the water, Ceduna Metal Solutions have the right equipment, supplies, knowledge and experience. And don't forget about their cranes. Ready for hire when you need that extra boost. Based in Ceduna with a mobile service that can come to you. Ceduna Metal Solutions. Solutions for all your metal needs. 70 Schwartz Road, Ceduna. Or call 8625 3997.
They're your local butcher, Streaky Bay Meat Service. A family-run butcher serving locals with local farm fresh produce from paddock to plate. From their range of small goods and metwurst made on site to their popular range of barbecue packs, hot dogs, their own streaky bacon and locally cured leg ham, Streaky Bay Meat Service take pride in 100% locally sourced and grown products, supplying supermarkets, hotels, clubs and cafes on the West Coast, and would like to thank locals, local businesses and travellers for their ongoing support. Open 8 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Streaky Bay Meat Service, Wells Street, Streaky Bay.
The Flow FM Sports Show, Eastern Eyre and Great Flinders Football.
It is the Flow Friday Night Sports Show, repeated 8 a.m. till 10 a.m. on Saturday morning. Don't forget our podcasts as well, wherever you get your podcasts from, or on our social media channels. That's Flow FM Australia on Facebook and Twitter. And Flowman, earlier today, a couple of our podcasts are already up for Eyre Peninsula football.
They certainly are. You can listen to the radio, of course, if you're out at Penong. You can pick it up there on 101.5, 106.1 at Ceduna, 99.3 at Streaky Bay and Wirrala, and also, of course, on 106.9 across Kynecutter, and the beautiful places like Woodner, Minnipa, and down there to Elliston, where I have to tell you, it was the boys that got up and got their first win at Elliston Districts, and you spoke a bit earlier to the big man, Chris Prime, about it.
We might see the birth of a little rivalry here. The Lock Roos hosted Elliston Districts, and what a game of football this was. Lock stormed home and almost pinched it, but the Elliston Districts crew had done enough. They ended up getting over the line 11-14-80 to Lock 11-8-74. A 6-point win for Elliston Districts. They would be delighted.
Oh, look, they'd be wrapped. And I think they probably in that last quarter they would have been sitting there rooting their 2 goals, 7 in the first, I think. So, but once again, Elliston Districts have matched every side for half, 3 quarters, and then run out of puff in that last quarter. Just might have shown again, but they had enough lead just to hold on there at the end of the game.
Yeah, very lucky to hang on, but they earned their first victory in Great Flinders football, so congratulations to them. That's their first A-grade victory. Cody Rosalia booted 5 for them, and we've talked about him in the past. He's a star. Was named best for them. Damon King O'Loughlin too as well. And got to say for Lock, Travie Beard booted 6, and he's been starring for the Roos so far this year as well. He's a player of immense quality, as we know, Primey.
It is, and like, if you've got a good, as I kept saying, you've got a target down there, or it just helps out. Like, it straightens you up, and you get your midfield on top, and it really gives you a promising target. And yeah, whether it's a small or a tall, it doesn't really matter.
Yep. Okay, so just I haven't done this, or we haven't done this at any stage yet this year, but we're into, round 5 coming up. So if you just have a quick look at the ladder, we notice, Cummins Skipini Cougars on top at the moment. They've had the 3 wins from 3 starts, along with the Eagles. There's only percentage separating those two, and they haven't played each other yet. Then it gets complicated because we've got 4 clubs on 1 win, as you touched on before. Ramblers have only played the 2 games. Lock have won 1 and lost 2. Elliston Districts have won 1, lost 2. And Tumby Bay has won 1 and lost 2. And it's only percentage separating them.
Yeah, it does. It makes these games amongst each other really important for pushing for those final 2 spots. Like the top 2 are, I think, pretty clear cut. I think the next 2 spots are pretty open to just about anyone there.
Let's talk about Elliston Districts, who could win back-to-back games now. They are at home at Elliston. They'll welcome the Saints to town, and they'll start favourites here.
Oh, look, I think without a doubt. Look, they've matched just about every side they've played, so they'll be looking forward to getting out and strutting their stuff at home again. So, I think they'll get over the line with probably 4 or 5 goals in hand.
Chris Prime there of Great Flinders Football and Flowman. We are back live now. That was recorded earlier today. The full podcast, spent about 10 minutes with Primey going through the entire Great Flinders competition, is up now. You can check it out wherever you get your podcasts from, or on our social media channels, Flow FM Australia on Facebook and Twitter.
Certainly is. I know that we also had a look at the Eastern Eyre competition, and Jared Sampson's been good enough to join us. He is that excited about his team and the Central Eyre United boys, the Storm. They stormed over to Kimberway, but it was pretty much a non-event, as the rain has been a little bit on the Eyre Peninsula this year. It was Kimber who were way too good.
It was Kimber Districts in the end who jumped you guys. They led by 7 goal, in fact, at half-time, and they were too good in the end, 15-17, 107 to 5-2-32. Big Burger Fitzgerald booted 7 for them and was a standout, but they had plenty of standouts across the ground. Fitzgerald for you booted 2. Jesse Stringer led from the front. The 2 Waters boys again performed well. Young Jackson as well. He'll be pretty pleased to be called young, and Heath as well. So you had some good players on the day, but they were probably just a bit more polished across the ground.
Definitely, mate. Much more polished for sure. Very structured game and very well drilled team. So, yeah, the probably lack of that depth on the weekend really showed out against Kimber. They've got real solid core, particularly in the midfield. So it's something to work on with Kempy in the ruck, giving them silver service throughout the day. It's tough work chasing tails. So, yeah, well, probably scoreboard was a bit of a thumping in the end. I think we'll take a bit out of that. Definitely, yeah, happy to have seen how they play, how they structure up now. So something to work on, and we could get a few more midfielders back off the injury list and onto the park. I'm sure Brucey and Jake Sampson, they would have added a bit more depth to our midfield rotation. So, yeah, game was over at three-quarter time, really. Last quarter was, a lot of junk time out there. So, it's a sort of somber day with guard of honour for the Bowman family after the game, after losing their daughter, which is, it's sort of hard to stomach as a father with young kids. You couldn't get your head around it. So courageous effort on their behalf to be there on the day. And it's great to see that both clubs and their communities get around them and show them the support, because at the end of the day, the game's sort of secondary to our communities, isn't it?
It's been a tragic week on the EP, unfortunately. So that's another show of faith from the locals there. You guys will have at Warrnambool this week, you'll have a task on your hands to try and keep these informed Ports mids at bay.
Yeah, they've strung a couple of good games together now, haven't they? So they pushed Rangers all the way the week before, and pretty solid win on the weekend. So had they have kicked straighter, it could have been even worse than it was. So we'll see how the White Oak base at Warrnambool treats them. Much bigger over than probably what they're accustomed to. But that could go either way, couldn't it? So challenge for us is getting guys back on the track and off the injury list at this stage. It's be nice to finish a game with a full complement.
So you've lost a few to injury, unfortunately. Who are the main ones that are out at the minute?
Obviously Jase, Bruce and Jake Sampson leave a pretty big hole in the midfield, mate.
Yeah.
So Squirt Winter up forward. He's had some dip up there. But at the same token, it's given some of our younger kids an opportunity that they wouldn't have got otherwise, and they're making the most of it. So it's as much as injuries can be frustrating at times, but this time of year there's still plenty of positives to be gained on a few guys sitting out so the young fellas can have a crack. So particularly new club, we're still finding our feet, sort of bringing two very different game styles together. So it's, probably not a bad thing to be able to mix it up each week and just find the right balance in the team.
The great Jared Sampson there, having a look at the fortunes of Central Eyre United. Should be a classic game that week, that one at Warrnambool. But Flowman, did you notice the three little beeps in the background there?
Yeah, the air seeder's going hammering togs, isn't it? He's putting out more than he's ever put out before while he's talking to you.
Yep.
I tell you, he might have made a few errors actually with the distribution, but he got the fertiliser in a couple of places too heavy. But to tell you what, great for the two sides that we do cover, of course, with Flow in our broadcast areas. I reckon that the Elliston districts can get a win at home, and this game at Warrnambool, I think the Central Eyre United, I reckon that in their colours, which are resplendently being displayed right now here in our studio, I think that they can get up and to get a win over Ports.
Indeed. They should go in as favourites on their home deck. Should be a cracking game of football, though, and what a round in Eastern Eyre football. We've Kimber and the Eastern Rangers taking each other on. If you want to hear more about Jared talking about that, get to the podcast, which you can find wherever you get your podcasts from. It is the Flow Friday Night Sports Show. That's where we'll leave EP footy for now. We've got plenty still to come. And don't forget, we're repeated 8 a.m. till 10 a.m. on Saturday
Elders
morning.
West Coast at Woodner and Seduna are your local real estate specialists. Talk to Elaine Seal about listing and selling rural, commercial and residential properties in Woodner, Elliston, Venus Bay, Seduna, Smoky Bay and Penong. For property management, see Donnie L. Smart, while Michael Seal is your insurance specialist on the EP. Ask about our rural bank facilities with friendly face-to-face service. Elders West Coast, your local banking, insurance and real estate specialists. Elders West Coast, supporting local communities.
Reap the benefits of concentrated, cost-effective liquid fertiliser this season with Liquid Ag. Locally manufactured on the Eyre Peninsula from the highest quality raw materials, supplying a range of sulfates, organic chelates, nitrogen solutions and water conditioners. Available now either individually or as a custom blend tailored to fit your farm's pre- and post-seeding nutritional requirements. With on-farm delivery, talk to Tim or Micah about Liquid Ag's fertiliser products. Visit liquidag.com.au.
Since 1974, Tundari have been providing parts and service for all types of farm machinery, including tractors, haymaking, spray equipment, vineyard equipment and general merchandise used by farmers. Surrounded by a diverse range of agriculture, the team at Tundari know and understand the land, along with the experience and expertise you need. Agents for BOC gases, white span sheds, FMR, high-tech fertilisers and Trans Tank International. Call in soon, see the showroom and impressive on-site displays, or visit Tundari Tandari.com.au. Tandari Sales and Service, Barossa Valley Way, Gawler East.
You think wine and tranquility. We think crushing footy.
The Barossa Light and Gawler Footy League.
It's the Flow Friday Night Sports Show, broadcasting on 99.5 across the Barossa Valley. And if you want to catch the podcast of any of parts of the program while Flowman puts his specs on, you can catch them via wherever you get your podcast from, or via our social media channels on Flow FM Australia, Facebook and Twitter. Let's talk Barossa Valley football, Flowman, and
Yes.
the great man Kim Vivian is back.
He's the Gawler part of the Barossa Light and Gawler. He joins us. Hey, Kim, how are you?
Good, thanks, guys. How are you?
Real good. Round 5 action. And I've got to start where it hurts, I suppose, Kim, because your lads came up against a absolute clunking side, a really, really talented group of fellas, and that was the boys from South Gawler.
Yeah, look, it wasn't a good day. Being a reunion day, I actually had the benefit of being able to go indoors and not look. So I walked inside for 15 minutes. I went back outside, and South had kicked 10 goals at one point in the third quarter. So, yeah, it wasn't a great day for us, but taking nothing away from South. They look like a fairly well-oiled unit this year, and I reckon they'll be a threat come September for sure.
Well, it's definitely no longer just a glitch. I think we can definitely say that, Kim. Whether there's still some players out or not, what we do know is that South Gawler will be there when the whips are cracking, and Gawler Central have got a significant amount of work to do, mate.
Look, they do. We South will, and look, we've got 12 of our regular A graders out tomorrow, according to Matt Whelan, talking to him last night. So. Yeah, I think as we touched on last week, you take 3 or 4 of the best players out of a lot of sides up here, and it really brings them back to the pack. So, it's giving opportunity for some other blokes to have a bit of a look at that level of football, and promoting some other younger blokes through the grades. So that'll stand us in good stead. But I think Wheelo's still looking to be able to come home with a wet sail come sort of the second round of games, and hopefully just sneak in there.
Not all doom and gloom, that's for sure, but South Gawler 24-13, 157, South Gawler 11-3, 69, Phillips 3, Molyneux 2, Robertson 2 for the Tigers, and for South Gawler, the Lions, Cutting, he's a star, he booted 4, Burton booted 4, Goulding 3, Filkey 3, Hudson 3, and they shared the rest around. We'll leave that there. Cutting named best on for the Lions, along with Burton and White. And for your boys, Molyneux, who just keeps on keeping on, he is a star.
A real big star. And what about these Anguston boys up there on their home hillbilly deck? They got home 16-7, 103 to beat Williston 8-10, 58. Never in doubt, Kim.
No, look, I think I called it. Anguston up there, we're always going to be too strong, I think. And yeah, look, I think the 2 blue and white sides of the league are probably a little bit ahead of where everyone else is at the moment. And it'll be an interesting clash when those 2 come up against one another again. I don't think they have met this year, have they? Or they have? I think they're early on.
I can't remember. I don't remember a score between them.
Not yet, but
just off the top of my head, I don't think they have.
No,
yeah.
No. So that'll be a cracker when they do, and it would be very interested to see how that one pans out. But no, Anguston going along very nicely.
Yeah, Durden with 6 and Borholm with 3, and Carnley, Borholm and Durden the better players. Petra Hillis with 3. I like saying that.
You're good at it.
Yeah, I tell you, I get better at it every week. Davis and Petra Hillis and Elbro, not the elbow to the head, but the Elbro. Yeah, he got a goal, the best players too there, and playing some good football on his side of the ledger. Freeling took on Barossa in the bottom of the table, clashed 10-14, 74 to Barossa Districts, and Kim, they beat Freeling 7-4, 46. But I guess we'll take this out of this particular game. Freeling led this game early and kicked some score in what would be pleasing for them and their fans.
Yeah, look, I think we've touched on this one as well. They just really need to keep plugging away, and it's hard when you've had a year out of football to come back and then take it up to sides that didn't have the break. They've obviously lost a lot of players during that period of time that they've had to work hard to get back at the club, and then still sort of rebuild from a base that wasn't overly solid to start with. So
they're definitely in a rebuilding phase, and they've been a powerhouse before, and I'm pretty sure they'll turn it around. They're too big an area and probably too big a club to not do so.
Yeah, Big Koshel kicked 2 for them, the only multiple goal kicker for Freeling. But Stowe, Traynor, they booted 2 each for Barossa District. Traynor, Newman, Gant and Casbolt named best for the Bulldogs. And for the Redlegs, it was Koshel, of course, Muster, Kleining and Scott named in the best. But the match of the round was absolutely the Barossa Derby. This one was a beauty. Tanunda, 10-11-71. Nuriut Par, 8-12-60. Just 11 points in it. And Nuri trailed by a couple of goals at half-time. And it turned out to be the final margin.
Yeah, look, I think, and that's where we've probably got to be a little bit realistic here and sort of appreciate the effort that was for the Newry boys, because they've lost some quality players, 2 or 3 from last year. They've picked up 1 or 2, but I think they've really promoted a lot of youth, and the Newry sides of probably the last 10 years have relied on obviously their junior development. I think they've been really good at it. So for those boys to stand up and against the star-studded lineup in Tanunda, I reckon the Newry side in 2 or 3 years' time is going to be having its time in the sun again. Not that they've been that long out of it from their last grand final win. So they'll turn it around pretty quickly, and I rate them as a really good side that's full of good local talent.
Good footy club, Nuri Rovers, no doubt. And Tanunda, full of West-offs, and I can't think of too many of their stars missing from this game, so you're exactly right. It's a big effort from Nuri. Rosenwig, I like watching him play. He kicked a goal. Bentley kicked 3, but Westlake, Bentley, Madden and Hinkie named in the best for Rovers. And for Tanunda, McFarlane starred, Thenka, Earl and Justin Westhoff named in the best for them.
Yeah, really good, talented group of players in that particular segment of the club, and I reckon what we've got is a really huge weekend of football heading our way. Round 6 action in the BL&G, and it's Gawler Central. Your boys having to come up to Williamstown to play Barossa Districts. It might be just a few showers about the place, just primed it up perfectly for you dry weather plains footballers at Gawler Central.
Yeah, look, I think if it does rain, it's been a miserable day and a bit drizzly off and on today, and I think if it's not supposed to tomorrow, they're saying no rain about, but, we know that the Bureau are, probably as good as the federal government at getting things right these I think it's probably one of those games that if you are a Gawler Central supporter, and for that matter, even a Barossa supporter, if it's going to be cold and wet, you'd probably opt to stay home, I reckon, and sit in front of the heater. It's probably not going to be a spectacle up there, given where the two sides are sort of travelling at the moment. But having said that, it could be a real dogfight, and it's definitely a game that the GC boys need to win, and one that the Barossa boys would like to take as well.
Now, Gawler Central, I reckon, are going to make a number of changes, got a number of injuries here. I'm going to tip a little rougher here. I think Barossa Districts might get over you boys this weekend, Kim.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, well, look, they're every chance. As I said, we've got a large number of players out. There's probably a few lads getting their opportunity, but they'll be coming in and wanting to prove a point. So I still think the Gawler Central boys will get up by around 5 or 6 goals.
I think we'll all agree on the next one. At Anguston, the home side Panthers there, they'll welcome Freeling to town and they'll take the points and they'll send the Freeling boys home. They'll have had a good day, but they won't get too many wins, I wouldn't have thought.
No, well, I wouldn't have thought. It's almost one of those games where you'd sort of, you'd really hope that Freeling can keep making some inroads into improvement, but I think it's going to be a filthy day for them potentially, and maybe a day that you'd almost need to invoke the mercy rule, I think, with the way Anguston are travelling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, though, the last 2 games of the round, these are beauties. Now, at Nuriupa, Rovers, who are improving by the week, every outing they're getting better. They take on Williston, who are doing something similar. They're going okay. The thing about Williston is they're a little bit up and down at the moment, aren't they? So I'd almost tip Newry to win this one. Kim, what are your thoughts?
Where are they playing this one, guys?
It's at Newry.
Newry all the way. I reckon Newry by 3 to 4 goals.
Oh, he's picked it. And what about South? You saw them last week. Well, actually, I think you're in the bar section and potentially we're in a reunion celebration, and you may not have watched too much of the game last week, Kim, but you saw South Gawler. We'll say that you did. And they've got Kapunda. The Bomber Boys come into Riggs Reserve. And what will they expect? I can't see them beating South on last week's form.
No, look, I like the Kapunda boys and the way they've started the year. They've been really impressive. But from what I saw last week, I mean, you mentioned in the best players, Dean Cutting. I think he's about 38. I've actually played with Dino, and I think he's sort of the Barossa, Light and Gawler's equivalent to Burgoyne at Hawthorn this year, and how silky smooth he is. Some of the grabs that he took as a bloke at the age of 38, ripe old age of 38, he was jumping around like a 28-year-old. So he's almost impossible to man up on. I don't know if there's anyone in this comp that can go with him up forward. I don't think Kapunda had that player, so he's going to be the standout, and there's probably just a little bit too much depth in that South lineup for Kapunda to overcome, and especially at home.
Should be a great day's footy, though, Barossa Light and Gawler football. Anything else, Kim?
No, I think I'm done, boys. I haven't got any gossip, but I'll put the feelers out tomorrow and see what I can come up with for next week.
Good man. Stay warm. Enjoy the footy. We'll catch up with you next week, mate.
Talk soon. Thanks, guys.
Family owned and operated, Jury's Liquid Waste are your local experienced and trusted waste management service provider. From grease trap and holding tank cleaning to septic tank maintenance and the supplying and installing of septic tanks, along with sullage tank cleaning, upgrading soakage systems, winery waste management and general earthworks. Jury's Liquid Waste are also Rytreat, Biocycle and Envirocycle specialists. Residential, commercial or industrial with a team of knowledgeable EPA licensed qualified professionals. Call Jury's Liquid Waste today, 85639 190. That's 85639 190.
For over 20 years, Cad's Truck and Diesel have specialised in all facets of truck, bus and four-wheel drive diesel engines repairs and servicing. The team at Cad's takes pride in quality and thorough workmanship, customer service and competitive prices. Qualified and experienced mechanics operate a large workshop with modern equipment and technology, including a truck brake tester and suspension shaker. Proudly SA owned. See the boys keeping you and your business on the road. Cad's Truck and Diesel, Lot 55, Stockwell Road, Angaston. Call 85642 470 or visit cadstruckanddiesel.com.au.
Oh, what a great leg! Yorke Peninsula footy.
Oh yes, the Flow Friday Night Sports Show continues on. The great Sammy Jacobs. We'll have him back next week, Flowman, to have a look. He's going to get a game soon enough. We've got Adelaide Plains to look at coming up. Of course, Yorke Peninsula in just a moment. North Eastern. We'll have a look at the footy there. But back to last week's games in Yorke Peninsula football. The CMS Crows were far too good for Baskerville. 17-11, 113. And they were 6-9-45 Baskerville. So too good there.
Yeah, they certainly were. And what about the Central York Cougars? 15-13, 103 at the Maitland Oval, which has a nice little postage stamp size. I tell you, this has got the crowd really close in. It's one of those roads all around the edge of it. When they have a grand final there, you never find a park anywhere near it. But it's an absolute beauty. And to get up over their rivals, the Southern Eagles, 13-14-92. The Central York Cougars be pleased with their start to the year.
They would. Moonta at Moona Oval. They were too good for Kadina. 17-12, 114, 12-6, 76. What about the entertainment value in these games? 28 goals in the last game we talked about, 29 in this one. And that's not all. The next game, we've got 31 goals to talk about.
Yeah, your old Drossen, Sammy Jacobs' lads, 17-9, 111, beat Wallaroo 14-4, 88 in the Battle of the Wharfies. And it was the ones from over on the Adelaide side of the Gulf for St Vincent's who beat the Spencer Gulf ones in this game of footy. Looking at this week's round 5 clashes in Yorke Peninsula footy, and it's Ardrossan taking on Central York. This is arch rivals of the old York Valley Football League. It's going to be on. Both sides in good form at Ardrossan Oval. Big Jacobs who want to come out to play for this because Central York are going to take it right up to them.
They will, and I think they'll win. Kadina at home to Baskerville. Cadena for me.
Oh, Parsky, I reckon, can come in there and beat the Bloodhounds. This is going to be both of those matches for mine. I could call them match of the round, but then you get Moonter playing CMS Crows, and I start to ask myself at the Moonter Oval, is this the match of the round? Because Moonter can beat the Crows there too.
They can, but I think the Crows will get up. And what about this one? The Southern Eagles, they folded last week. They take on Butte, who had the rest. So... they're not without a chance, Butte.
And what about the travel here for Butte? Waruka is the furthest place down the peninsula, and Butte is the most northernest place. So they get the hour and a half road trip right down the whole of the peninsula. You get to travel through and past all the other games along the way.
Yep, that's right. Wallaroo will have the spell this week, and they could probably do with it.
Yeah, they certainly could. In a moment, we're going to have a look at the games from last week's Adelaide Plains, and we're looking forward to that. That is for sure. And there were some beauties played across the Adelaide Plains, where we saw what was in round 4 action and a very good performance by Angle Vale. I reckon the first time they might have ever beaten Balaclava.
You might be right there, and they did it, I won't say easily, but easy enough. 13-8-86 to Balaclava, 10-3-63. So 4 goals in it there. Virginia just handed another thrashing to United there, 20-18-138 to the Tigers, 8-7-55, Flowman.
Well, it was, and when you look at the result there, you had Coombs booting 12 for Virginia, and that is a big, big turnaround.
Where's our man Nicholas didn't play?
Oh, I don't reckon he's got his 1,000 goals. He might have actually heard us talking all about him, and
he's off.
We made a phone call to him. We actually were trying to get him on the program tonight, and he didn't take the call. He was going to, but he just didn't. He might,
didn't want to know about it.
Oh, I think he's given up on goal kicking. Primey's too far ahead of him.
How about this one?
Yeah, what about it? 12-13-85 to Hamley, 10-15-75.
Yes, only 10 points in it. Hamley Bridge would be kicking themselves. They kicked themselves out of it. 10-15. Bad kicking is bad football. And the last match of the round, we tipped it as the match of the round, and it was. The same number of scoring shots here. The scores mirrored. Malala 14-11-95 to Wells 11-14-80. Again, bad kicking is bad football, Flowman.
And I'll tell you what, it was close, just the reverse of the old scores there. You know, 11-14 to 14-11. You go, gee, if only we had of. But if only we had of Angle Vale. They're getting some wins at the moment, and the long road trip from the Lockhill folk right up there at Hummocks, and they will be coming down to Angle Vale, and it's a long trip down that Port Wakefield Road. When they get to Angle Vale Oval, they will front up to a very different side than what they've played in past seasons.
No question about that. That will be a tight game, actually. I'm not sure who to tip there. I'll go with the home side.
I reckon Angle Vale could upset the Hummocks here, actually. I think you're right. Hamley play 2 wells easily.
Yes, they should win, but not by as much as they have on that oval in the past.
Balaclava and United. Now, this is a bit of a rivals game. They love these games. A lot of the people from out at Longies, they come down to Balaclava to shop, and a lot of social groups, church groups and all that meet and to have fellowship with each other in this particular part of the world. So these are people who know each other well. Balaclava won't worry about that on the day. They'll paste United in the footy.
No, they will give them a fair old pasting, I think. And at Virginia Oval, Malala will come down the highway and probably do likewise to the Rams.
I think you've got it right. Northeastern Football League. It is going to be a very important round of matches in NEFL, and it's something that we've actually saved up the big Spud McKay for us. He's going to be coming up a bit later in the program, in northern areas. So we thought we'd have you and I just have a look at Northeastern Football League, and this is going to be a really, really good round of matches. I just want to say one thing before we get to it, though. The SANFL are playing WA, and one of the players who's playing for the SANFL and captaining them is a Northeastern Football League player from BSR. And
Jack Hayes.
He is. You've got it spot on. He's captaining the side, so congratulations to the BSR side who have got a state captain who is able to represent them in this big clash over in the West. Okay, here we go with Northeastern. And we reviewed last week when we saw some great football played in the Northeastern. It was magnificent stuff. And in the end, it went down to the wire in the round 3 clashes. It was brilliant when RSMU, though, didn't go down the wire and beat BBH 18-15 to 3-7.
Yeah, they gave them a hiding. It went down to the wire here, though. This is the game you were referring to. North Clare. They took on the Southern Saints, Flowman, your Southern Saints, and should have won this, the Southern Saints. But it was North Clare, 10-9-69, the Southern Saints 10-6-66. They had this under control to a point at quarter time. They led by 3 goals. They clawed back within 2 goals at half time, and from there it just got away from him.
It did. That Hardy fella, I reckon he played at Jervois, if I remember.
Yeah.
He booted 5. Nitschke with a couple of Mosi, Mitchell and Sasanowski were the better players for the Saints. Simpson with 3, Nikolai with 2. T. Cross, C. McGuinness and C. Helbig were very good for North Clare.
Other matches in the A-grade. Min-Man, I don't know why we were thinking this would be close, because Min-Man absolutely thrashed South Clare. 18-8. 116 South Clare, 6-2-38. Where are they at the moment, the Demons?
And do you know what? I reckon they played in the grand final last year in the shortened season, and they got a lot of good players came up from Balaclava and that area, and some of them gone back to Adelaide Plains, but I reckon they'd be really disappointed. But Min-Man, are they going okay? I reckon they'll be top 4. And what about Luke Sando? Booted 8, Wolford 3, Cock with a couple, Wilmot with a couple, winding back the clock, Wilmot, and L. Sando, B. Sando, C. Riggs, the big ruckman, J. Lang and D. Wilmot amongst it. Jenkins, Dinning and Ballantyne with 2 apiece for South, and Dinning, Oxenham and M. Grigg in the better players.
Love what the Eagles are doing at the moment. And BSR keep on keeping on. They did enough to beat Blythe Snowtown, who didn't put up much of a roar, to be honest. It was 15-14, 104, 74 points to the good for the Tigers over the Cats, 5 straight 30.
Yeah, okay, round 4 action this weekend, and it's actually not this weekend because it is a break from the football being played in this part of the world, and have to say that that's a good thing because when you have a little break in the year...
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that, and so...
they'll probably get and watch the young Hayes boy there in front of the Power game, although I'm not real happy about that being a curtain raiser. It should be a standalone game that anyone can go and watch.
Yep.
But unless you've got Port Adelaide tickets, you won't see it.
Yeah, a bit disappointing that, isn't it? All right, that is a look at what's happening in NEFL football and across the central parts of the state.
Most farmers struggle for decent returns from their crops, their livestock and their grain. AW Vater & Co. give growers the best supply, service and support from seed to silo, helping to maximise profits and grow a prosperous farm for generations. You deserve more reward for effort and the security of a partner in agriculture who has your back, fighting for you, whether it's changing market prices or product and supply shortages. Contact family-owned and operated AW Vater & Co. today, where you're not a number, you're part of the family. Saddleworth, Kadina, or visit awvater.com.au.
Larwood's Ag Services, 40 years of building business in the farming industry by trust and dedication. Larwood sell quality agricultural machinery from Case IH, Macdon, K-Line, Grizzly, Merlot, and now Equaliser, and much more. With dealerships in Kadina and Maitland providing exceptional service and advice time and time again. Contact the Larwood sales team today on 8821 1999 or pop into the Kadina dealership to see one of the dedicated salesmen. Larwood's, helping you get the most from your season, soil, seed and machinery.
In the Mid-North, what's bigger than our legendary sheep and wool brands? On Saturday, we're playing for more than sheep stations. Northeastern Football League.
It's the Flow Friday night sports show. Northern Areas football next. Let's have a look at what went on there last weekend. Some big margins once more in the A-grade competition. And Graham Spud McKay joins us on the line to go through it. Spud, how are you, mate?
Yeah, good, Jase. Yeah, there certainly were some big margins there last Saturday.
Yes, there was. And look, we might start at Jamestown, where the biggest margin of the weekend in the end saw the losing team here score the biggest score of any of the losing teams of the weekend. It was bizarre.
That's the second week in a row they've done that, but mind you, the previous week they only got 3 and this week they got 4, so they're on the improve.
They are, and it was Crystal Brook, too good, mate, 25-23, 173. Jamestown Peterborough, 4-6-30, 10 scoring shots. The positive for Jamestown Peterborough, obviously 48 scoring shots against probably the negative, Spud.
Yeah, look, I saw this game and it might have just been my observation, but very early in that first quarter, Crystal Brook, they'd been beaten by a fairly big margin the previous week against Orroroo, and they sort of entered this match a little bit hesitant, but
it didn't take them long to sort of find their feet. And once they made a couple of forays into their forward line, they soon managed to get their system working, and it worked very well with Daniel Hill up forward, along with Darren Shillabeer, and they were their two key forwards that kicked the goals for them. But it was their on-ballers in Luke Capitola and Joel Millard that were provided the forwards with that opportunity. So they did a good job there. Ethan Palmer was good in the ruck too, even though he didn't finish in their best players. But what I will say about Jamestown Peterborough is that they are hanging in there, and they scored a couple of goals in the last quarter. And that's all you can ask from a side, is that they don't just completely capitulate in the last quarter. They sort of gave it their best shot, and hopefully if they can keep doing that, they will be on the improve throughout the season.
Spot on. And you mentioned Hill and Shillabeer, 18 goals between them out of the 25. Hill booted 10, Shillabeer 8. Naturally, they were named in their best, along with Capitola and Millard, as you mentioned. But for Jamestown Peterborough, all individual goal kickers, Clark, Hall, Larkham, Vumard. I think I've got that absolutely wrong, but you can correct me if I'm wrong.
No, that's correct.
Oh,
that's correct, yep.
And Jeske named in their best as well. So they keep having a go, Jamestown Peterborough, and they keep fronting up every week. And as you say, that's all you can ask.
Yep.
We move on to the next one, and the margin of this game absolutely shocked me, I've got to say. I didn't see this coming. It was only a couple of goals in at quarter time, and from that point on, Broughton Mundura just absolutely dominated this game. They flogged BMW. There's no other way to put it than that. 17-8-1-10 BMW, 3-5-23. That's disappointing for BMW.
Yeah, it certainly was. I tipped this as sort of the match of the round, because I thought that it would be a very tight tussle between both sides. It was played up at Wilmington.
Just to jump in on you there, to be fair, you were right. This was the closest match of the round.
Thanks for that, Jase.
Sorry, please continue.
Yeah, so I obviously BMW. I sort of think with Lucas Kanga and Alec Kanga in the centre there, that they would have got more drive out of there, but they didn't do that. Alex and Lucas both were in their best players, but Broughton Mundura, with the injuries they've got, this is a really good effort for them, and they come away from that game really happy, not having, I don't think they picked up any injuries much either out of it.
They might not have Genius Gene up front anymore, Broughton Mundura, but they do have Hewitt, who booted 7, to be named in their best, along with Bally, Freer and Whelan. And you mentioned the two Kangas, along with Christopherson. He's in there week in, week out for BMW. He can hold his head high. And Brereton as well was named in their best. And the last match of the round, and this one's disappointing as well. I think we've all been hoping that Southern Flinders were going to be up to it this year. And they had the ultimate test against Orroroo on the weekend, went into half-time goalless. They would only kick one goal for the day, and it brings out that old adage, Southern Flinders went into this game with one goal in mind, and they got it. Orroroo, 16-6-102. Gee whiz.
Yeah, look, Southern Flinders, I'm not sure, but I reckon they've had 4 quarters in the last 2 weeks where they haven't scored a goal, and 4 out of the 8 quarters they haven't scored a goal. Now, they haven't really been able to put enough goals on the board, even though they beat Jamestown Peterborough in the first match. That they've sort of seemed to not quite up to it since then, unfortunately. Mind you, Orroroo are the pace setters, and that's what all the other clubs have to do, is get up to that, and they are really forging ahead now, and so everybody's going to have to try and match the standard that Orroroo's setting.
Exactly right. A Bowman up front was as straight as an arrow 5 times. He was named in their best as well. Nicholas Lee Del Menico and Shoot named in their best. And for Southern Flinders, well, their coach is trying hard. Nick Pearce, he's in the best players again, along with Mellington, Kay, and I think that's Hennessy as well. So they've got a few guys that keep trying every week, but you're right, they just can't score at the moment, Southern Flinders.
No, they need to be able to sort of get some goals on the board. If you get goals on the board, then you'll start to get a bit of confidence. But they will be really up against it, I think, until they can sort of do that.
All right, let's see if we can find a close game in round 5. I'm not sure that we're going to get them, but we're going to have a go. I reckon we've got a couple that might not be as close as we would like. First of all, Broughton-Mundura will take on your Jamestown Peterborough at Port Broughton. Your boys will keep having a go. Let's hope they kick a decent score. I'm sure they'll have a go at that, but you'd think Broughton-Mundura will kick plenty more.
Boy, oh boy, what a trip, eh? It's a great place down there at Broughton. Playing on that oval, it's always very balmy down there. We can have a frost up here in the morning and you get down there and you don't need your jumper on. So you mentioned William Hewitt there. He scored a heap of goals last week for them. He actually is a brother to George, who plays for the Sydney Swans, and a pretty handy footballer to go with it. And the two Bowley boys, Kane and Mitchell, Kane in the centre, Mitchell coming off a half-back flank and can have a run on the ball too. Tommy Whelan at centre half-back, but he's been in top form all around, so he's going to make it really hard for Jamestown Peterborough. Jamestown Peterborough on the other way, Matt White will return after 1 week off with concussion. Henry Hall was really good there last week for them, but they will, I think, really find this hard. And Broughton-Mundura will win fairly easily, I think. I think you're right. Orroroo should as well at home. They're taking on BMW, who need to show something. We need to see something out of these guys. Third best percentage in the competition at the moment, sitting 5th on the ladder with just the 1 win. That tells the story. They need to improve and quickly. Yes, that's right. Nick McCullum didn't figure in the goals there last week, but he is the one that can kick the goals for them if they can get it down to him. Mind you, it's going to be hard work against Orroroo because their on-ballers are the best in the association. One thing I will mention about BMW too is congratulations to Jordan Arthur, who's an assistant coach at BMW. He works alongside Alec Kanga and is their bench coach. He played 300 games for BMW last week, I reckon. He's been a great club man for them. Probably played 70 or 80 games down with North Adelaide and the Amateur League there at some stage too. So well done to Jordan Arthur. All right, and we go to the final match of the round, which should be a reasonably close contest. These two sides, 3rd and 4th on the ladder. It's at Crystal Brook. The Chooks at home against Southern Flinders. And, Crystal Brook showed they could kick a score last week. Now, can Southern Flinders? Well, will they be allowed to by Crystal Brook? Because I think Crystal Brook, after what I saw in the three and a half quarters from them, they got their game going now and they know what they have to do, get the ball forward quickly to their forwards and give them the best opportunity. So I'm sure that their midfield will be working hard. Southern Flinders, on the other hand, Nick Pearce has been good in the ruck for them. Their coach, he's been good all season. Scotty Galbraith in the centre or on ball, he gives them plenty of drive out of there. So if that pairing can get the going, they then can get the ball forward. But I struggle to find somebody that's going to be able to kick enough goals for them up there. Maybe Scott Coombe can perhaps get a bagful for them, but that'll be their only option. But I reckon Crystal Brook will win this and. Probably, won't be as big a margin as the other two games, but they will win reasonably easily. Spot on, Spud. All right, mate. We'll leave it there tonight. Great chatting with you as always, mate. All the best to your boys, and hopefully you get some more rain up your way soon as well. We'll catch up with you next week for a weather report and a report on Northern Areas footy. Thanks, Jase. We'll catch you next week.
WSB Distributors is the name for great sales and excellent service in the agricultural industry. And after 80 years in the business, we know exactly how to provide for your needs. No matter how big or small, the team at WSB can offer a comprehensive range of sales, parts and service across multiple brands to keep you ahead of the game. See for yourself. For all your agricultural needs and the most up-to-date information, drop into the team at one of our WSB Distributors dealerships in Clare, Jamestown, Saddleworth and Karoonda.
Parky's Hardware Borough are your local Thrifty Link store, supporting your local community. Servicing the hardware needs of the Borough region with expert, easy-to-understand advice from locals you know and trust. With a large range of builders' hardware, supplies, paint for both trade and retail, plus new kitchen and flooring displays with appliances on show. Looking for your hardware solution at a competitive price? Look no further than the store that supports your local community. Parky's Hardware Borough, 20 Commercial Street.
Farming has become extremely complex, and a year's work can be devastated by incorrect decisions. AW Vater & Co. have over 50 years of agronomy and over 60 years industry experience, offering farmers expert support for cropping decisions with the confidence and peace of mind to grow better crops. Affiliates with industry leaders like GRDC, industry authorities and suppliers, you'll receive helpful and honest advice to create a prosperous farm. Contact family owned and operated AW Vater & Co. today. Where you're not a number, you're part of the family. Saddleworth, Kadina, or visit awvater.com.au.
Step out of that mirage and into Tam's White Hart Garage. They've been around so long, 103 years, and still going strong. There to lend a hand to the man on the land for all diesel and petrol repairs, showing you who really cares. Welding, repairing and fabricating, take it to Tam's before it gets frustrating. 889 22281. Tam's White Hart Garage gets it done. 9 Young Street, Borough. Get there in a hurry.
Cooper's Butchers in Borough are proudly local, supporting the community by employing people in the Borough region and supplying you with fresh quality produce, including their famous Saltbush Hogget and locally sourced Wonderbar lamb, barbecue packs, great roasts for winter, and all your ham, pork, bacon, fish and poultry favourites. Proudly supporting the BBH Football and Netball Club and proudly supporting you. Drop into Cooper's Butchers today for a taste of local. 2 Market Square, Borough.
When you're cruising along the Barrier Highway, your perfect pit stop is the Hallett Country Store and Hallett Coffee and Collectibles. In the Hallett Country Store, you'll find Australian-made one-off arts and crafts, from metal, leather and woodwork to patchwork, knitting, clothing and greeting cards. Then cross the road to Hallett Coffee and Collectibles. Great coffee in a relaxed atmosphere while browsing the range of interesting and surprisingly affordable collectibles. The Hallett Country Store and Hallett Coffee and Collectibles. Your perfect pit stop along the Barrier Highway.